Cool. Well, hey, man, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out. I want to begin our conversation before we get into your journey and your work. How did you get through the last 3.5 years? How did you survive the pandemic, and how did it subsequently change you?
Okay, so the first part of the pandemic, because I'm a business owner with my father and my brother, so that was a big change with our business where it kind of affected. And also, I had my daughter born 2 years right before it started, so she was still young. So we had the world going crazy with if the health issues, our business wise, can we are going to be able to function and work. Then just my home life of like my ex-wife now, but like she had a hard time. She dealt with travel and everything like that because she worked for AAA dealing with travel and insurance. So that took a huge hit. So through the pandemic, there's a lot of tough times like mental, I would probably say like mental stress and stuff like that. But just kind of geared down and knew like just thought like brighter days. Just what some of my daily habits I would do, just kind of keep uplifted and stuff. But just more believing through like it's gonna come together, everything's gonna work out. Keep doing what you got to do, and just plugged along through everything. Had faith with our business that we'd get through this muddy time, in which we did. It's still not as it was prior to the pandemic,
Yeah.
but it's still on the upcline. I mean, I looked at it as anything. If you're able to get through it, muddle like through all that whole time, you're going to be fine. The
Yeah.
ones that couldn't, they were already struggling prior to that. And that, kind of just weaned out the weak. But then even just like the home and personal life, like that was tough, a lot of stress. But again, I just really kind of relayed more into like the daily habits of getting up, working out, and trying to just really keep a positive mindset to help everybody, not just myself, but my family and everybody else. So yeah, it was tough, but I mean, I used that stuff to get through
Yeah.
and just had more belief with it all.
Yeah, absolutely. So on paper, it's clear what you do for a living, but let's simplify it a little bit. I'm going to put
Okay.
you in front of a bunch of third graders. It's career day.
Okay.
And one of the kids is curious. And they're like, hey, what do you do for a living? How do you answer that child?
My answer. Okay. Um, we own a business. So, all right, sorry. Well, I'll start with, but so I do two things. One, I own a family business that deals with like we're wholesalers, and then two, on my side, I do the coaching, the nutrition and training on the side. So I kind of do all that.
Right on.
You want me to target more of like the main thing, or would you say
Well,
the?
we'll peel back the layers. I think that's good. That gives a good backdrop. So I'm curious, when you were in the third grade, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, okay. I wanted to be a professional sports athlete. That's what I wanted to be when I was a third grader.
Okay. What sport was your sport?
It was I wanted to be football and baseball. I wanted to be like Deion Sanders.
Okay, right on. Yeah, we were fortunate in Kansas City when I was growing up to see Bo Jackson. That was a
Right.
spectacle, you know.
Yeah,
So,
he is
um,
phenomenal.
man, he was crazy. So, let's get back to your childhood and how you developed into this role as a businessman and as a coach. Take me back to where you were born and raised, and what were the seeds that were put into you that grew into who you are today?
Okay. Yeah, I grew up in a small town in New Hampshire called Fitzwilliam, New Hampshire, which is a real tiny town. I grew up with both my parents. They were both ended up, well, they when we were born, they were both drug addicts, and they both became recovering drug addicts. So me and my brother, I have a younger brother, we grew up in a household with drugs and stuff like that. Not as like you see on TV, crack house or like that, but um, grew up with that with friends that they had and everything. But when they became sober, and me and my brother would go to all the meetings they would go to. So I learned a lot at a young age of drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. Maybe didn't understand it, but we were in the meetings there and everything. And when my dad got clean, he really took more of the father role upon me and my brother. It was like, we played sports, but he was like, I'm going to coach you guys and train you guys. So he took a big part and became, really involved in our lives growing up through sports and everything. So we really dedicated our lives at a young age to sports instead of like going to travel and Disney, all that stuff. We really enjoyed playing the sports. So then when I became a teenager in high school, like around 16, my mother passed away. So that was a big change, like for our whole family dynamic, because my mother did a lot of the home stuff and everything like that. So my dad basically became, he never did laundry really before. So it was three men in a house, so it's kind of like chaos. But, I mean, I had a lot of feelings going on. I just knew I had to be strong for my younger brother. And my dad, obviously, I could see the struggle he had. But growing up, like going through that with him being clean, everything, I gave him a lot of inner strength to pull through and just, keep believing and believing. So, eventually we got through. He found someone else, which he got remarried, and she was a part of our lives and grew up and helped as much as she could, which was good. But me and my brother both continued with sports, and I just kept going along through high school playing baseball and football, and just really concentrate on that. And it kept me away from like drinking and drugs throughout high school, like which was a big part of seeing that.
Yeah.
Even though my father did still sit there and say, he's like, I know you're gonna probably try it one day, but just be careful, understand like the stuff, the gateways and all this. So, I always had that, at least the knowledge in my head when, I did end up drinking and stuff. So
Yeah.
that was pretty much through high school what I dealt with a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So who's been a hero for you?
I've had like a couple of heroes, like I feel as of right now throughout my life. One would be my dad, like growing up throughout high school was a big one just to see the accomplishments he did. And then as I got older, my uncle, through like my ex-wife, like basically still my uncle, he's a big business guy and he's just really crushed it in life with that. And like now, he's another hero in the finance and just business world and everything. And then I would just go a lot, like even I look at my brother as another possible like a hero just by his mentality of how he lives his life, like very straightforward. He looks at stuff very easily. Like it's a yes or no decision. He's very confident in what he does. So I see the confidence in him and it helps me. So I'd probably say them three really, I kind of lean towards different little views of my life, what it might be, like whether it's like through a struggle. I remember my dad, what he had to do when it's trying to grow and be like more like into a business mind and stuff. I look at my uncle, and then just really down to nitty gritty decisions that we sit there and we'll basically go back and forth for hours, like over something so simple of what wrapping paper to use for Christmas, and just think of the simplicity and just go yes or no. No, this one with the. On it will be fine. So I use with my brother, like he's just very confident decisions, which have helped like stuff, like just a lot of that mentality. So I'd say them three really have helped me. Like I always look to in my head a little bit.
Yeah. So if you could meet anybody alive on the planet right now that's an inspiration to you, who would it be? Who would you love to meet and talk to?
Oh, I would have to say it'd be Tom Brady, I think.
Okay. All right. So did you root for the Patriots all those years?
Yes, yes. Yeah,
Right
grew
on.
up a Patriots fan, New England, so yeah.
I remember going to the NFL draft here in Kansas City in April, and I was with
Oh,
somebody that was a Patriots fan. And he kind of looked over and said, because we were there for the very last pick on day
yeah.
3 or 4. And he said, you realize that Tom Brady was one of the last chosen in that draft. And that's the thing that's wild, isn't it?
No, it
That,
is. It's crazy.
yeah, yeah. So anybody that gets picked, you never know what can happen.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So you obviously are highly driven. You're helping people. What is your motivation every day? What gets you out of bed? What gets you moving to not only help people, but to evolve and do what you want to do with your life?
So when I get up in the morning, it's like I hit a routine right away of like working out, like whether it's at home or at the gym, but that puts me in a good, like high vibing state so I can give out my best self to everybody. And that's what there's nothing more than a greater feeling to get your day going and you help somebody, whatever it may be, like whether it's a question like about their personal life. I come to work, deal with someone in just work wise business, but it really helps drive like me helping people. I just like whether anything in their life it could help with. And when I bring my best self to them, I know I got to be at a high level, like vibing state, good positivity, mind thinking, just to think clear and help them out and just give off that good energy to them. And it could bring up their day for the whole week where they're really down, in the dumps big time, like, barely holding on. And just that little bit of help that I could give them. And I know it brings like happen for me. I know if I could do that to other people, and I feel I do, there's nothing than a greater feeling to be like, and basically an offering to help people, like, and it's awesome. You know,
So on that path of helping people, what's one of your favorite success stories that always puts a smile on your face?
um, I guess it would have to be. I mean, there's many of them, but like a recent one I just dealt with is a guy I grew up with, and we play like men's league softball, and he was very, very overweight and everything like that. and he just seen some of my videos I was posting like on Instagram of me working out and just giving like food tips and stuff. And out of nowhere, he just tells me, he goes, hey man, I just, just from your videos, like he didn't purchase the program or anything, he just saw my videos and I just know him from, like I said, growing up. He goes, I just started working out, doing a little bit, this and that, and I started eating better, and he goes, I'm down the lowest, like the lowest I've ever been, even in high school. And the guy he's married with like 3 kids and stuff like that. And he's like, it's just changed my life, like making me a better man to my family. You know, like little success stories like that one right there. Like just, I don't even know. It's better than getting $1 million given to you just because, like he's helped his own family, like his wife's happy, his kids looking at his dad as a role model now. Like that's just awesome to me. Any little bit I can help like that stuff right there, like that one individual, like just for an example. I mean,
Sure.
so
So you get to give good advice to people. What's the best advice you've ever gotten?
oof, best advice I ever gotten. I'd have to say it's from my mentor that I as a coach, Wes Watson. It's to create the man you always wanted. Where I'm going to create what I always grew up because no matter what, you had your heroes, but they all lacked in something you felt. So it's like I'm going to create what I needed from just one individual, not the three, how I just explained. Like I'm going to put that all together. And I want to bring that to my people, my loved ones, and give that out. So the best advice probably would be from him hearing that one time, like just screening through Instagram, and then I watched a YouTube on it. And I was like, that's like a very powerful thing you want to create for everybody and bring to them. So I kind of
Yeah.
been living by that going forward.
Yeah, for sure. So let's say you have a dream tonight. You run into, say, the senior in high school version of you, and you can give that version of you a piece of advice based on the wisdom you've gained so far in your life. What advice would you dispense on your young self?
My young self, I'd probably tell him, I'd go, hey, when you get to college, don't don't get into drinking. Just stay away from drinking and hanging out like that aspect, and just keep working hard throughout everything, and you're gonna be fine. That'd probably be it. That'd probably be the best advice. I mean,
Yeah. So as someone that loves sports, if you could go back in time and see one game with your own eyes, where are you going?
oof, my own eyes in one game. It'd probably be the snowball. The New England Patriots when they won, and the stadium was just covered in snow. They're throwing snowballs all out to go to the championship game. Probably that game.
I remember
It was
that.
awesome.
You
Yeah.
know, you know what blows me away about that whole Brady dynasty is that
Hmm.
Atlanta win. I remember watching
Oh
that
my God.
because, they still don't like him in Atlanta. I don't know that he goes and just freewheels down there, but that was the last year in that stadium. They were up by a ton. Everybody turned the game off, and it's like
I know.
he did it.
I
Wild, man. Totally wild. But
don't,
you
I
know what
don't
that
think
No, go ahead.
I don't think anyone will ever forget where they were that day
Oh,
when they
no.
watched the game. I mean, that's like it was like you're just saying a sports fan, you'll never forget that moment.
Yeah. You know what reminds me of those real snowy football games? I always love it when they have those hockey classics that are outside, and when
Oh
it
yeah, yeah,
snows, those are the pageantry of that. Man,
yeah.
that's it. That's the nitty-gritty right there. So,
It's right up at Fenway Park. They do it. That's where they brought it back, started doing it. And actually, if you look up a thing, because so where I live in New Hampshire in Fitzwilliam, right next to me is Keene, New Hampshire, and they have it used to be the Cheshire Ice Rink, and it's still there, but they don't use it. They had that was an outside ice rink, and Chris Carpenter, the pitcher, he pitched
yeah.
for the Cardinals. He played. He's from the area I grew up in, and he played on. He said one of the best moments he did was playing there when it was outside.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm not even a hockey guy because Kansas City really doesn't. I mean, we have a minor
right,
league team, but every time I see that stadium, it's like, man, there's nothing better than that.
yeah, no.
So,
I trust me. I'm from the cold. I can't ice skate. I've never snowboard or skied. So I mean, it's all around me, and I've
yeah.
just never done it. So
Yeah, no, I get it for
yeah.
sure. So, of all the things that you've done and accomplished in your life up to this point, what are you the proudest of?
Um, the thing I'm proudest of is being, as of right now, being a great role model to my daughter, being the man she needs in her life to give her the confidence. I see her growing up, and she's only 6, but the confidence I'm instilling in her, what I learned, like that's what I'm giving to my daughter besides love and care. But I'm giving her the confidence to be a strong woman out there in this world where she doesn't need to dress provocative to get someone's attention or anything like that. She can walk out and she feels confident in everything she does. That's
So
one thing I'm very proud of doing and continue.
absolutely. So everyone out there sees you in a different light. Family, friends, clients, colleagues, those that you coach, but ultimately you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think that I'm a great man, as in I'm a good listener. I'm a great friend. I'm very caring. Um, I'll literally take my shirt off my back for you. I mean, it's nuts what I do. I'll drive 2 hours just to say hi to you, Joe, and then I'll be like, hey, I gotta go. Just
Yeah.
for 5 minutes, I'll drive 2 hours. So I mean, when we're good friends, I care about you, and there's something passionate for me to do. I'll do anything it is to to accomplish that. So
I love it.
yeah.
So if anyone out there wants to hire you, learn more about you, reach out, anything, how do they do that?
Just hit me up on my Instagram handle at Domintino at Instagram.
Right on. This has been great, man. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
opening up. Thanks for your story. Have a great holiday
Yeah.
season and a great 2024.
All right, you too, man. You too.
I appreciate it.